This case study of Pepsi provides evidence of the situation that a company faces when its distribution strategy in the international supply chain management is ineffective. Pepsi-Cola International accessed the Ukrainian market through exports back in 1968, and since then they have been trying to sustain its position in the market. Pepsi exports its concentrate to 12 local bottling companies, who sell it to distributors, who in turn deliver it to retail stores. Despite the fact that the supply chain management has led Pepsi to gain local fame and popularity, it is inefficient in terms of cost, which reduces the ability of the company to earn higher profits. The discrepancies in demand and supply, conflicts between channel members, the environmental impact and theft along the way, seriously harm the company's profitability. With Coca-Cola entering the market, Pepsi needs to redefine and redesign its supply chain strategy to meet the challenges faced in the market and sustain its position in the country. Let's discuss in detail the challenges faced by Pepsi, and the possible solutions for the company to improve its supply chain and marketing channels, in order to sustain the market leadership. Now, before moving to this video, I would like to make a small request to you. If you like this content, please like this video and share your views in the comment. It would indicate to me that I should continue to make more such kind of videos, and at the same time your feedback will help me to improve the quality of the content. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel, in order to get unlimited free access to my case study videos archive. Moreover, I have given some case study links and study materials in the description of this video. With that being said, let me take you into the detailed view of this case study. One of the biggest challenges faced by Pepsi is the gap in supply and demand. This is mainly due to Pepsi's lack of presence in the market, and its heavy reliance on outsourced distribution. Gaps in demand exist in the supply chain when the company fails to meet the demand via distribution. The delivery of irregular quantities produces this gap. Gaps in supply exist due to the channel members' lack of expertise in the distribution process. The evidence that there is an efficient and effective supply chain strategy comes from customer satisfaction and the quality of customer service. In the case of Pepsi-Cola International, an entire rural segment of customers is excluded from distribution, which shows the lack of focus given to customer service in the supply chain. The main reason for this supply chain gap relies on Pepsi, as they developed a distribution strategy without proper consideration of the customer segments that exist in the country, and for not hiring managers to control the supply chain operations, who would have inculcated efficiency in the supply chain. Pepsi-Cola International has two consumer segments in the Ukraine that have not been segmented properly. So far, Pepsi's focus has been only on the urban consumers. This case study highlights the growing demand for Pepsi in the rural areas. Since their variable income and their purchasing power is different from that of the urban consumers, marketers generally ignore the rural population and focus mainly on urban consumers, as Pepsi is doing in the Ukraine. There is immense geographic dispersion together with lack of proper infrastructure, prevents big companies from establishing tailored marketing channels to target rural customers. Ignoring the rural consumers may be a disaster for Pepsi in terms of losing out on access to a larger market share in the country. Pepsi-Cola International needs to tailor its distribution to meet the demands of the rural consumers. It first needs to segment its market for the two types of customers, rural and urban. Despite the fact that the rural consumer market has a low capital income that shrinks its buying power, the market has great potential due to the size of rural population. With the growing awareness of the developments in the urban population, the rural consumers aspire to consume brands to improve their standard of living. This is a factor which provides local and multinational brands the easy means to penetrate the market using low-cost marketing models. For example, Coca-Cola in Africa has penetrated African rural villages by installing its own refrigeration system in stores to provide consumers with cold drinks. It often delivers its product by hand to individual consumers to meet demand in the area. This is a lesson to be learned by Pepsi. Now with Coca-Cola entering the Ukrainian market, it is only a matter of time for them to spread their wings into the rural market of the Ukraine as well. PepsiCo International, with the help of the local institutions and NGOs, can make efforts to install the necessary developments in infrastructure to allow more efficient distribution in the rural areas, which will benefit it greatly in the long run. The biggest argument against this is the consideration of the costs involved. This brings in the need for effective supply chain managers that Pepsi has completely ignored. So, PepsiCo International needs to bring in expatriate supply chain managers who are fully committed to and deeply involved in the company's marketing operations. It needs a strategy which focuses on customer quality and service, unlike the local distributors whose main concern is to make ends meet via short-term profits. The balance in the supply chain can only be maintained if company individuals are involved along with the local distributors and bottlers in executing the distribution. It also indicates that inter-firm customer knowledge sharing in logistics services is highly important in improving efficiency in the supply chain. Channel conflict is another big challenge faced by PepsiCo International in the Ukraine. It is the result of lack of power and control exercised by PepsiCo International in the supply chain. All power has been given to the locals, which has inculcated inefficiencies in providing quality customer service, and reaching all customers as desired by Pepsi. The main source of this conflict is the cultural difference between the local distributors and the PepsiCo International's country of origin. With Pepsi outsourcing the entire supply chain operation to locals, the locals feel free to assume their own business philosophies and execution methods as they hold no fear of disappointing their supplier. Without power and control from the vertical chain, the distributors are free to deliver as they please, regardless whether they meet marketing targets. This is a challenge. The supply chain is most vulnerable to economic, social, and external impacts. The challenges faced by Pepsi in the Ukraine are common to any multinational companies when they enter developing countries. There is a high level of vulnerability in the supply chains due to various interdependencies between the channels and parties within the supply chain that inculcate issues of power and control. Also, channel coordination and relationships between the channels can create a level of vulnerability. About 90% of the challenges faced by PepsiCo International in its marketing channels in the Ukraine are related to the relationships between the channel members. The main cause of vulnerability in marketing channels is due to the relationship dependencies. These need to be in the control of the company in order to avoid any existing and potential threats. In order to reduce channel conflict, relationship marketing needs to be exercised together with taking power and control away from the locals and giving it to the in-company supply chain managers. Relationship marketing plays a key role in inculcating efficiency in supply chain management. Commitment and trust have been found to be useful tools for establishing healthy and positive relationships in the supply chain channels, because without a synchronized trust chain, the marketing channels cannot work together effectively. This trust component is especially important in markets where there is the threat of leakages of company information, breakage of company and industry rules, and a high level of involvement in illegal procedures and methods of business operations. The local distributors in the Ukraine are open to all types of business practices, irrespective of whether they are legal or illegal, or acceptable by the corporate policy and marketing strategy of PepsiCo International. This is one cause of conflict that can be resolved through building trust between the interdependent channels. Moreover, the cultural influences which cause channel conflicts can be curbed with a tailored leadership strategy that first seeks to help the local channel members gain confidence via trust-building activities and then resolves the conflicts that arise from the differences in viewpoints and approaches to marketing. Mutual understanding of the marketing objectives that has benefits for all parties involved has to be established. For this reason, it is important that from now on, Pepsi exercises complete control over the supply chain operations using its own expatriate supply chain managers and using only those distributors that show signs of commitment and with whom trust can be built. For those who show positive signs, the company needs to make the best use of relationship marketing, putting into place the important lessons learned from the benefits of trust, relationism, leadership and commitment for reducing channel conflict to the minimum. The case study has identified that the infrastructure also poses a challenge for Pepsi with regard to effective distribution and increased transit times. This has both time and cost implications, and therefore contributes further towards inefficiency in the overall supply chain management of PepsiCo International in the Ukraine. The roads are of poor quality, and traffic is very leniently managed, which adds to the complexity of managing routes. The distributors mainly use roads to distribute the product to the stores. Where the pickup time from the bottlers can be managed and monitored, but the delivery time is hardly ever followed as per schedule, due to the problems caused partly by the infrastructure and partly by the carelessness of the distributors. It is the distributors who pick up the final product from the bottlers and take it to the stores, where customers can purchase the bottles for consumption. As regards bringing in the concentrate from the port to the bottlers, PepsiCo International has to ensure care at any cost. Therefore, it prefers to use rail travel for this. However, during winter the concentrate tends to freeze, making it useless for consumption. This adds to costs for the company and further reduces the efficiency of the supply chain. There is no other way to deal with the matter. Pepsi has not brought in its own specialized vehicles that could ensure the safety and security of the concentrate. It has chosen to rely on the vehicles of the bottlers and the distributors, which has only produced further challenges for the company. Improving the infrastructure is necessary, if Pepsi is to facilitate the distribution and inculcate efficiency in the supply chain. It needs to develop shorter transit times and cost savings by using alternative transportation routes such as rail. This, however, cannot be undertaken without the involvement of the local government authorities. The case highlights the problem of red tape in the government's approach to work and which limits the benefits that Pepsi can derive with the help of the government in this regard. PepsiCo International, with the help of the local institutions and NGOs, can make efforts to develop the necessary infrastructure to allow more efficient distribution in the rural areas. This will be of great benefit in the long run. This will become much easier and be more effective once Pepsi sets foot in the market by establishing its own plants in various locations across Ukraine. Theft is a common problem in the Ukraine, which has weak law enforcement, and the multinational companies operating in the country are not spared from this threat. The concentrate that is shipped in is most vulnerable to theft at the port. For this reason, Pepsi has to deploy security staff to make sure the concentrate reaches the bottlers safely, which adds to costs in the supply chain. Further, this does not fully ensure the safety of the concentrate, and the company still has to accept that, on a regular basis, some of the concentrate will be stolen from the port or on its way to the bottlers. The loss itself creates a cost burden for the company. The distributors also face the threat of theft, but locals are much more immune to this and know how to deal with it. The foreigners are the ones most affected by local theft. Unless Pepsi-Cola International's management decides to personally catch the criminal themselves, the problem of theft cannot be resolved. However, it can be curbed by eliminating the channel that is most exposed to theft, like the shipment of the concentrate to the bottlers. Once the company enters the market by installing its own plants, the concentrate will be locally produced, thus removing the marketing channel of shipping and the additional costs inculcated by the channel members involved in this process. Thank you so much for listening to this video. I hope this video might be informative for you. If you find this video useful, I would request you to like this video, and please do share your feedback regarding this video in the comment. It would mean a lot to me. Last but not the least, as mentioned earlier, do not forget to subscribe this YouTube channel for receiving updates about my upcoming case study videos. You can also write in the comment, if you would like me to make videos regarding any specific case studies that you have in your mind. Meanwhile, you can also have a check on my 5 Minutes Learning YouTube channel for getting access to hundreds of case study videos. Thanks a lot again, see you soon with another interesting case study video.